Our shiur is about
Kiddush Levana.
Okay, look. So starting off with the sources for the mitzvah of Kiddush Levana, starting with source number 8. So Gemara says Daf Mem Aleph Amud Bet to Mem Bet Amud Aleph. Gemara says Amar Acha Bar Chanina Amar Asi Amar Yochanan. I can't work on a chodesh until the Gemara asks until when's the last time you could be mevarich on the new moon. It's obviously assuming that we make the bracha for the moon. And the Gemara answers that that until the moon fills up its cavity, which we'll delve into later on. But for now, we're just interested in the source of the mitzvah. Additionally, going on right to source B, Talmud Gemara Yerushalmi, Gemara Brachot Daf Samachim and Aleph. The Gemara says, "Harot Levana b'chiyushea." Someone who sees Levana in its new the time you're supposed to make the bracha, new moon. Omer Baruch Mechadesh Chodashim makes the bracha Baruch Mechadesh Chodashim. Another source for the mitzvah of Kiddush Levana. Additionally, moving on to source number C. Gemara in Masechah Sofrim. The Gemara in Masechah Sofrim says, "Ve'im Mavarchin Alei Reach Ela Motzi Shabashu Kishu Busam Claim 9." We're going to delve also later onto that also. But basically, the Gemara says that the Masechah Sofrim says that we're Mavarch on the Chodesh only on Motzi Shabbat, which we're going to delve also. Like I said, we're going to delve into later on. And if you look at the end. And the bracha they make, like we saw in all the other Gemaras, Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Rosh Chodashim. A little different, which we'll see if we have time to discuss that. But basically, what we're interested in now for bottom line, the Maaseh, we're interested in the sources for the mitzvah of Kiddush Levana, which are those 3 sources. Additionally, just derech agav for chashivas of the mitzvah. The Gemara on Mem Bet Amud Aleph, source number going to Chashivus Mitzvah, source number 8. The Gemara says that Amar Rav Acha Bar Chanina Amar Rav Asi Amar Yochanan Kol HaMevarech Al HaChodesh Bizmano Ki Mekabel Pnei HaShechina. The Gemara says that someone who is mevarech the Chodesh at proper time, it's as if he's personally greeting the Shechina. Besides for the agadic drasha of this Gemara, that this has a lot of halachic ramifications we're going to see soon. But it shows you how important it is that it's mamash you're being mekabel shechina. It's as if you're actually greeting the shechina personally. Now, once we establish that we have to make this bracha, now I'm sure all of you are wondering what type of mitzvah it is. So I'm sure we all know that there are 3 types of general categories of mitzvahs: berachat shevach, berachat hamitzvah, and berachat nen. Berachat shevach means thank God Hakadosh Baruch Hu for the bracha. Berachat mitzvah that we're commanded for this mitzvah, and also berachas nenin, we're thanking Hakadosh Baruch Hu for the hana, for the pleasure we get from mitzvah. So there's a discussion in the Rishonim and the Achronim. What's the getter of this mitzvah? So famous Rabbeinu Yonah, the source number number 1.
Or 4.
The Gemara.
Source 4. Say source 4.
Source 4. The Gemara says that Rabbeinu Yonah says, if you look at Rabbeinu Yonah, page number 4, which is page number 4.
It's called source 4.
The Gemara says that if you look at the bottom right, it says Shechina. The Rabbeinu Yonah is talking about the actual the getter of the mitzvah, and basically he's saying the Gemara says, Talmid Rabbeinu Yonah is saying that although we can't see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's greatness through all of His creations and through, specifically in this case, the moon. And going on, skipping a little later on, the Gemara will also say that that we through HaKadosh Baruch Hu's creations, additionally, like we said before, we see Hashem's salvation through everything He does for us, all the good He does for us. And in this piece, Rabbeinu Yonah is discussing the getter of the mitzvah. He's talking about how we define what category we put this mitzvah under. And in this case, we're talking, as Rabbeinu Yonah says, as we see from his lashon, that where he's talking about the whole shavach and everything else about the bracha. Additionally, going on to I'm not going to see it inside, but the Rambam in Hilchot Bracha Perek Yud, which is a second number, which is source number 5. The Gemara says that the Rambam says that he doesn't say anything, but he does. What he does do is that he puts the bracha of Kiddush Levana, he puts it by all other mitzvahs that are definitely berachat shevach. Like for example, like a bracha on the rainbow, bracha on seeing great mountains, or other great sights. You go right after all that, all those mitzvahs, he puts a Kiddush Levana. So obviously, I think it's a valid conclusion that the Rambam would say, according to what we're seeing right now, that he would say it's a berachat shevach. Additionally, now going on later on to a little more achronish poskim, the Shiur van Hagod says that he obviously also establishes in source number 6. He also establishes that based on what he saw in the poskim, obviously that Kiddush Levana is a bracha of shevach, and he says that he learns out a din from that. He says, looking at the underline, like Rabbeinu Yonah said, and like Gemara said, that's a bercha shevach as if you're being mikal shechina. And what does he say? V'lachein mitzvah lechatchila ba'asar b'chomer yoter. That therefore, since it's a bercha shevach, you should definitely try to have at least 10 people. And he says, but you're going to say, you know what? I have an option to either say it by myself, and I'll say it earlier, or I can say it later on with more people. So, he's saying that you are supposed to wait a little later on, so you can brov am hadar malach. He's saying right now, you have to try your best, try your utmost ability in order to get at least brov am hadar malach, which most poskim assume is 10 people. And you're supposed to, since it's bercha shevach, that it definitely beats out these Zrizim Makdimin. So therefore, obviously we could see that Rav Sternbach also holds that this mitzvah is berchas shevach. Additionally, not saying it inside, also the Bach of the Pri Megadim also and many other Nosei Kelim also assume that this bracha is a berchas shevach. Now moving on to the other poskim, we want to see who says that it's a berachas hamitzvah. So there are many when looking through the poskim, you see many different variations of who holds what. The commentators Rosh Chodesh, very Gishmak Sefer in the base Medrash, use the Baruch Hashem uses it a lot. He has his own ha'ara, which he says that it's implied from the Gemara, from a Rashi in Sanhedrin, that's a berachas mitzvah. Going on to source, berachas mitzvah number 1. The commentator says that learning out from this Rashi. If you look at the Rashi on Divrei Machil Dayan, says that Rashi ilo zachu l'mitzvah. Basically, the Gemara also said that like we're going to see later on, that this mitzvah is such a big mitzvah that if we only had this mitzvah, that would be enough to only have this mitzvah. It's an agadic pshat, but showing you the chashivut of the mitzvah. So the Rashi says, comment on that little line. He says that ilo zochu lemitzvah acheret. Rashi says that the commentators of Rosh Chodesh, he's saying that it's mashma from this Rashi that it's a mitzvah, because what does Rashi say? Lemitzvah acheret, meaning according to the way the commentators of Rosh Chodesh is understanding it, he's talking about is meduik from Rashi that it's a berachas mitzvah. Obviously, la'aniyut daiti, I don't think that's such a good raya, because just because he's saying it's a mitzvah doesn't show it's a berachas mitzvah. Obviously, everything is a mitzvah, but defining what the category is, that's what defines what getter goes under. So okay, but for now that was the commentary of Rosh Chodesh that's meduik from that Rashi. Additionally, the Magalia Tayam, which we're going to see right now in source number 7, and also Divrei Yisrael b'shem Shvat Sofer brought down in the Metivta. Move on to source number 7. Magalia Tayam also learns out that this has to be a berachas mitzvah. The reason why he says that is because Rashi, because if you look in the Gemara says that since Amar Abaye says since it's chashuv mitzvah, the Gemara hilkach and nimrinu meumad. You have to make sure you say this bracha standing up. So my Gulad Ham explains what is this? What is the lashon of hilkach? If you look at source number 7, bottom one underline, shemati lefarish inan hilkach. What is the definition of hilkach? Like we said before, there are different types of categories of mitzvahs. Berachas nenin and berachas mitzvah. Berachas nenin, also berachas nenin varchim. Bechol pam shenenin. That we make the bracha of berachas nenin on any time we receive pleasure from anything in this world. We make a bracha thing HaKadosh Baruch Hu for giving us that pleasure. And berachas mitzvah they only have, and berachas mitzvah at the same time only have their own set time. Berachas nanen, mevarchan ben biyusha ben mumad. Berachas nanin, we can say whether standing up or sitting down. Or berachas hamitzvah rak umad. You need to say it only standing up. So, meaning Rabbeinu Margoliadam is saying that it's he's defining Abaye's hilkach, meaning that the lashon of Abaye to mean that since it's a berachas mitzvah, therefore in parentheses hilkach, you need to stand up like all other berachas mitzvah. Since it's a berachas mitzvah, you need to stand up and like all other berachas mitzvah. Now moving on to more of the other poskim that say it's a berachas ha-mitzvah. Shut chaval b'nei also quoted by the Metifta, also says it's a berachas mitzvah. Additionally, the Berke Yosef, Chaim Yosef David Azulai, he also says a berachas ha-mitzvah. And not only that, he also said that the reason why that the Gemara needed to tell me that hilkach nimrinu meumad, the reason why is because the Gemara is teaching me that it's not just a din lachatchila and it's a mitzvah minha muvchar. It's an actual din. I actually need to sit, stand up when I'm making this bracha. Yeah. Now moving on to the other gedarim, moving on to berachas nanin, the Sefer Yehoshua, also quoted by the Metifta, says that it's a berachas ha nanin for the Pashut reason because we're getting hana from the Kiddush Levana. We're getting hana from Levana, and therefore, since we're getting hana from it, we should have the same. We're making a berachas hanan. However, additionally, other poskim saying that it's a berachas hanan. And if you look at the source, page number 9, source 9, the Ramah, if you look at Simon Aleph, that Harora Levana b'chidushem b'racha asher b'mar b'rach shechagim, like Shulchan Aruch says that you make a bracha asher b'mar b'rach shechagim, and Ramah comments, skip on just to the underline, that the only time that you make this bracha is only at night when the moon is shining and you're receiving hana from the light. So obviously the Ramah is stressing the point that you're supposed to be receiving hana, you're supposed to be receiving benefit from this light. Also another possible source saying that this bracha is a berachas hananin. Additionally, other sources, other poskim also say that it's also berachas hananin. That like Mishnah Berurah says later on that even if the Levana, even if the moon is covered by clouds, however, as long as you still receive benefit, as long as you receive some light from the moon, you could still able to recite it. Obviously showing that it's a berachas hanan, it's a berachas hanan, you're receiving benefit from it. Additionally, Mishnah Berurah says that a blind person also obligated to say Kiddush Levana, Lefi Mishnah Berurah. Others argue, which we're going to see later on, but he says that blind person is also obligated to say Kiddush Levana because the reason why is because the light gives benefit to other people who help the blind man. I mean, they guide him through the way, and indirectly he's receiving some hana from the Levana, showing obviously again that this bracha is a berachas hanan. It's very similar to the fact that we say that by brachas of berachas shachar, as Josh Calvin pointed out. Similar to berachas shachar, that we say over there that and since there are other people who help this blind person, are obviously able to see this bracha indirectly affects this person. Same exact thing. The reason why this person can make the bracha is because it indirectly affects him. Moving on, obviously bottom line showing it. This is a berachas hanenin. Now there are many conflicting sources showing that this bracha shouldn't be berachas hanenin. The Levy Co points out, if we look at source number 8, on the underline bottom left, he says that going to the underline, the Levy Co goes to long length of proving how this bracha can't be a berachas hanenin. And the reason why, he says that the Rama writes that the person that a person is able to recite this bracha even on the first night. And obviously on the first night is very, very, very small. You're not getting any hana from it. So the fact that Rama says that you could even make the bracha on the first night obviously shows that it's not a berachas hanenin, because you don't get any hana from you're not getting any hana from the moon. Additionally, other poskim say other reasons why it can't be berachas hanenin. The Margoliat Hayam, as we quoted before, he says that if it, let's say it would really be a berachas hanenin. So every single time at night when I go outside, as long as I'm receiving hana, I should make a bracha because I'm missing hana from it. So obviously, and we know that we only say it once a month. So it can't be berachas hanenin. Like Rav David Wood pointed out before, it's similar to Tosam Pesachim Daf Nun Gimel. He says that the same thing by the Havdalah. The Or Levana, when we make the bracha of Bor Me'or Eish, it can be a berachas hanenin, because if that's true, then every single time you see a fire, you have to make a bracha of Bor Me'or Eish. So it's definitely very similar to the same thing, that it can't be a berachas hanenin. Additionally, nice pshat given by Tefer Yisrael, the Perush on Mishnayot, he says that the bracha of Kiddush Levana can't be a berachas hanenin because the fact that we're making a bracha on the moon shows that's not a berachas hanenin. Why? Because we have a famous rule, mitzvot lav leharon ninu, that mitzvot aren't given for our benefit or for our pleasure, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't be telling us to do a mitzvah that we just receive hana from it. Because why? Mitzvot lav leharon ninu. Another nice pshat given by the Tefer Yisrael and Perush Mishnayot. Now, moving on to another discussion about Kiddush Levana. We're talking about the chiyuv nashim. Are nashim obligated in this mitzvah of Kiddush Levana? So the Gemara on Mem Bet Amud Aleph discusses what's the nusach of the brachas. So when I ask, if you look at source number 1b, second page, you go back second page. The Gemara says that the Gemara asks what is the nusach of the bracha. So we just say those three words. That's the nusach of the bracha. So the Gemara says if that's true, then the woman, if that was true, then even the woman will make the bracha. The Gemara is assuming obviously the woman don't make a bracha. So what's the reason why they don't make a bracha? So the possible potential problems could be obviously the first thing that comes to your mind is the mitzvah seishas 1 gram. And maybe you could say that Kiddush Levana is a mitzvah seishas 1 gram. So the Magen Avraham on source number 12 says that Simon Tavcha Vav in B'Shem Shla Kadosh, he says that mitzvah seishas 1 gram, that the Magen Avraham says that the bracha of Kiddush Levana is a mitzvah seishas 1 gram. V'af agav dehem mekaimot kol mitzvah seishas 1 gram, meaning Lefi Ashkenazim that make a bracha on mitzvah seishas 1 gram. Like Kikon Sukkah, Mikol Makom, Mitzvah Zu, like Mikol Mitzvah Zu, Ein Mikaimim, Mipnei Gomel Pekam Levana. Bottom line, Lefi Magen Avraham, he says that it is a berachas of Mitzvah Seishas 1 gram, and therefore, according to that reason, they should make the bracha. But like he said later, like he just said, the reason why they don't make the bracha on the berachas Levana is on the Kiddush Levana is for a reason which we will discuss later on, that they cause the diminishing of the moon. We're going to discuss that in length later on. But basically, according to Magen Avraham, it's a berachas. It's a mitzvah seishas 1 gram. Now, if you look on the bottom of source number 12, bottom left, there's a very very geshmaga Chocha Shlomo or Shlomo Kluger, and says on the bottom Ayin Magi Avram Shekadu Al Shekadu Debecha Levana have a mitzvah says Shazon Grama. V'Nashim Petura. It says look at the Magi Avram which we just saw. It's a mitzvah says Shazon Grama. And the Gemara V'Chein Katav B'Shem Hashla Kadosh. And he was quoted the Hashla Kadosh saying that it's a mitzvah Shazon Grama. Now Zok Rav Shlomo Kluger V'Ladati Zehi Tamua Meod. This is a very, very wondrous. I don't know how in the world the Magen Avraham could say this. Ve'ein lanu inyan klal mitzvah shazon grama. You can't say the mitzvah shazon grama. Why? The klal ze lo nemar rak mitzvah. Like guf the guf ha mitzvah shaycha tamid b'chol inyan b'chol zman. Because I think it's a bad idea first for me to say outside that the Rav Shlomo Kluger says that this definitely can't be mitzvah shazon grama. Why? Because the only time where we say something is a mitzvah shazon grama is where that mitzvahs wise, this mitzvah is possible to be mekayim throughout the year. Let's say sukkah or matzah. Physically, I'm physically able mitzvahs wise. I'm able to take a matzah in Cheshvan or Tishrei, whatever it is, and I'm able to eat a matzah if I want to. And what happens? HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells me no. Only on Nisan, that's when you eat the matzah. Or in Tishrei, that's when you sin a sukkah. But those are mitzvahs shazon grama. However, things which can't be said throughout the year and only have a certain time frame because mitzvahs wise it's only in that time frame. That's not mitzvahs shazon grama. Like if you look in the underline in the middle, right in the middle, that the Rav Shlomo Kluger says that the mitzvah zu actually like you could do this matzah or anything whatever else in Cheshvan or B'Tishrei or even in Iyar. Then in those that in Nisan or wherever it is in Tishrei, the Hashem give you a certain time frame. And from then on, meaning besides Nisan, whatever that specific time frame that Kiddush Baruch gave us is that is you're gonna be putter for that mitzvah. However, in that case, like matzah or sukkah, whatever it is, nashim going to be patur over there. Nashim going to be patur over there. Avo bilavana atu haveli la megia mikoach hazman zeh havi haminiya miguva mitzvah. The reason why the woman can't make the bracha is because mitzvahs wise, the only time you can make the bracha is on the Kiddush Levana when there's a new moon, and that new moon only comes at a certain time frame. So it's not the pshat isn't that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a certain time frame. The Kiddush Levana is at that time, and that's the only time you can make it. So it's not a mitzvah shazon grama. Ve'im kain, moving on to the bottom. Have miniyat habracha she'en kan guf hadavar levarich alav. V'have miniyat mikoach hadavar she'en kan levarich alav mikoach hasman. It's not the time. It's not time that's binding. That's not. Time isn't the determining factor for this mitzvah, but rather it's the condition of being a new moon. That meaning you can only say the Kiddush Levana, and therefore it's not a mitzvah shazon grama. However, the Maharalmi Diskin says. And the Mishmeres Chaim and Pinchas Scheinberg at the same time say that no, they argue on Rav Shlomo Kluger and they say that really that is a mitzvah shazon grama. But what did they do at Rav Shlomo Kluger? They said that no, in Hanami that the Kiddush Levana is at a certain time frame, but the Kiddush Levana is binded by time, right? So if A equals B, B equals C, A equals C. Therefore, the bracha of Kiddush Levana is a mitzvah shazon grama because it is determined by the Kiddush, which is determined by time. Now, so obviously we just saw the machloket between the if it's a mitzvah shazon grama or not. But there are many other reasons why nashim would be patur from the mitzvah. The Magen Avraham, like we just saw before, quotes B'Shem HaShlah HaKadosh. The Shlah says that the reason why Nashim are mevarich is because they cause a pigam of the Levana. They cause the diminishing of the moon, and then since they cause it, it's not befitting for them to make the bracha on the moon. However, the Ben Ish Chai in Shudra Dal Simon Lamed Hey, in source number 16, says that can't be the reason why the women don't say the bracha. It's because going in the middle, Rabbi Shchai says, if you would find this pshat anywhere, it'd be in the Ari, and guess what? It's not there. It's not in the Ari that says that the reason why they don't make Mevarach is because of the Pigam Levana. And Lefi Rabbi Shchai, he said that in the Kitvei Ari, in the writings of the Ari, they didn't find any reason, anything similar to Pigam Levana. So the Rabbi Shchai isn't so bought by that. Additionally, another reason why women wouldn't make the bracha of Kiddush Levana is because of Magen Avram in Siman Reis Sadi Vav. He says that women only make brachas on mitzvahs which have an actual ma'aseh in them, like sukkah or matzah, whatever it is. But Kiddush Levana, there's no ma'aseh in it, so there's only dibur. So therefore, they don't make a bracha on the Kiddush Levana. Additionally, the Salmat Chaim, Shut Chavolim Bnei Ayimim, and the Or Pnei Moshe also say that women. Another reason why women don't say it is because we have a din that Kol Korah Shel Bat Melech Pnima. That a woman is supposed to be she's obviously not supposed to be going as so outgoing, whatever it is. Supposed to stay a little Pnima. Her beauty is really inside of her, and therefore it's not so befitting for her to go out in the public or whatever and to go and be Mevarach this moon. Additionally, a nice bar given by the Vilna Gaon and the Shut Nishal David. They both say that another reason why women wouldn't be Mevarach is because we said that the Kiddush Levana is Kiyum Mikal Pnei Shechina, and we know the rule that when Jews are obligated in times of Beit HaMikdash to go and see the Beit HaMikdash certain time periods throughout the year, the Re'ayon, right? Women aren't mechuyev in that because the pasuk says Yerayeh calls zechurecha. Zechurecha means zachar, male. So therefore, since they're not mechuyev in being mikal pnei shechina by Re'ayon, they wouldn't be chayav in being mikal pnei shechina by Kiddush Levana. That would be another reason why women wouldn't say this bracha. Now, those are all reasons why women wouldn't be saying the Kiddush Levana. Other reasons why women should be saying the Kiddush, that they should be saying the Kiddush Levana, is that the Meiri in source number 17 says on the other line, "V'noshim v'ameh haaretz she'ein yodim mevarchin baruch ata Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam mechadech chodashim." That women or ameh haaretz that don't know the halacha, they don't really know the exact details of the halacha, they should just make this short bracha of baruch ata Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam baruch mechadech chodashim. Since the Gemara says that if that was true, then we should. If that was true, when asking about regarding the nusach of the bracha, it says that imkei nashi didan nami mevarchi. So Meiri takes that literally and he says that okay, fine, no, they really should say that bracha. The woman should say that bracha of that short line of baruch mechadech chodashim. And Maharsha comments on that and he says that a woman should say this bracha because it's so short. And they can even say Baal Peh at night, you just go outside, whatever it is, quickly say the bracha and come back inside, and they're able to do that. The Magen Avram at the same time rejects that Maharsha and the Meiri says it doesn't make sense that you're not supposed to be taking the Gemara literally at the Shiur and make this bracha. It was a rejection to what we said. So that was another reason why women wouldn't be chayav in saying the bracha of Kiddush Levana.
So it's going to be hard to follow Chacham Chaim's beautiful introduction to the new segment of Zman HaBracha. As we just discussed, we the various different opinions that talk about if women are chayav or patur in this mitzvah of Kiddush Levana. So, if you look at source number 5, the Rambam in Hilchos Brachos Perek Yud Halacha Tes Zayin says, "V'tzarech levarech bracha zu moment shel hamavarech al chodesh bizmano ki ulakav al shlina. V'im lo berech alav al rishon yesh lo levarech alav at shishas hayom b'chodesh ad shesmalei pigmasa." So, what the Rambam just said was that if you don't say the first night, then you have until what? You have until the 16th. Okay, we'll discuss what that really means later. But you have till the 16th to recite the mitzvah, the bracha of Kiddush Levana. Right? Shetis malay pigmasa, as the Gemara, the language of the Gemara. Right? And just summarize what I just said, the Rambam holds the first night, that the first night you're able to be mevarech. Also, the Yad Ramah agrees with him. If you look to source number 19, he says, V'omer Rav Yochanan, Ad Mosai, right? This is the Gemara. Ad Mosai mevarech al chodesh, Ad shetis malay pigmasa. Nafkamina, right now the Rama, Nafkamina di lo varach b'yom hakama, right? If you don't say the first night, kol kama dolos malas b'gmaso, matzi levurcha eleh. That all the time that the moon is still in its, let's say, baby state until it gets to the cavity becomes full. Until then, you're able to say. But what? The first night, he holds like the Ram. We see, right? B'yom hakama. Also another source, right? Most Ashkenazim hold like this vein, the Talmidei Rabbeinu Gemara Brachos, Perek Tfilas HaShachar, right? This is source number 4. And as the Talmidei Rabbeinu say, I'm sorry, let me just get this. Okay, look at the bottom, it says, right above the words Ki'ilu, it says, okay. Shemoto ha'or shelo ve'odom ne'eneh mimenu shezar achar shnei yamim o shlosha al hayareach ben yom mitoch kitanoso ein ha'or shelo motok she'ein odom ne'eneh mimenu. So what he says is that, he says 2 or 3 days, but what we come to explain, how we come to explain in Rabbeinu Yonah, is that you must wait until the 3rd day. Again, we'll explain what 3rd day really means at the end of this segment, but the 3rd day is when we're able to start the bracha. Right, okay. And like I said, most Ashkenazim hold like this. And then there's, now for the Sfardim out there, we look at the Shulchan Aruch, right? The Shulchan Aruch, source number 20. The Zok, the Shulchan Aruch, the Hilgah Shulchan Aruch. What would he do without the Shulchan Aruch? Dal, right? Siman Dal. Ein mevarchin aleo ad sheyavru shiva yamim aleo. So what does that mean? Until 7 days, or again, 7 days, we don't know what that is. That's like, until 7 days, we have to wait until we can be Mevarach on the Chodesh. So that means, what does that mean? On the 7th day, that's when we can be Mevarach. For the first time on the 7th day. Right? Now, as Chaim said, we're going to elaborate on what Masechah Sofrim is really speaking about. Look at source number 3, Masechah Sofrim. Right? And he says, right, this has to do with this manim, and he says, the aim of Orchan Al Yareach Ela B'Motzei Shabbos Kishehu Mavusham U'V'Keil Non, right? And the Torah ain't Avik Kenegdo, right? Okay, so what does he say? He says, aim of Orchan Al Yareach Ela B'Motzei Shabbos. So that means only on Motzei Shabbos, not only on Motzei Shabbos, but we should wait for Motzei Shabbos to say the bracha. So even if it's the 3rd day, someone will say, maybe if the 4th day is going to be Shabbos, right? Maybe we should wait till Shabbos, and then we'll say Berachas Levana, instead of being Zrizim Magdilim the Mitzvos for Friday. And then for this is obviously for Ashkenazim, because Talmidei Rabbeinu Yonah only says that 3 days, but Sfardim would have to wait till 7 days or whatever. But why? So you might ask why? Why Motzei Shabbos? So what do we say? Also the Rama says, but we say. Right. We say that on Motzei Shabbos, when we're all b'simcha after the Hilgah Shabbos, we all know we all just greeted the Shabbos Malka, and we're coming back from so much learning of Torah and Simcha, and rejoicing with Simcha, and what even more, and we're wearing Begod Noam, right? So by that fact, the only way to be Makal B'nei Shechina in the right way, and a qualification that we could actually go and greet HaKadosh Baruch Hu is if we're wearing clothing like this, and then obviously b'simcha. And that's why some say, just as a side topic, some say that on people on a fast day shouldn't, after a fast day you shouldn't say Kiddush Levana because they're not so happy. But if you're going to, because if it's the last day or whatever, you should make sure to eat something before. So you're little, whatever. That's not for that. That's something else. Yeah. Right. Now going back to the end. This is what we just discussed about the beginning brachos is. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, right, where the main source we've really been focusing on, the Gemara doesn't discuss it. The Gemara only talks about the end time. So let's look at what the Gemara talks about in the end time. So the Talmud Bavli, right, Chaim already said this, but just to reiterate the point, in source number 1b, right, of Talmud Bavli Gemara Sanhedrin, I'm sorry, 1a, it says, Amar Rav Acha bar Chanina Amar Amar Rav Yochanan, okay. Akama mevarchin al Chodesh, right? So this means until when can someone bless? Amar Rav Yochanan. I'm sorry. Amar Rav Yochanan, Akama mevarchin al Chodesh. Ad shedesmol v'gimosa That's what Rav Yochanan says, right? Rav Acha Bar Chanina says, right, in the name of Rav Yochanan, that we have until the full cavity. But what does that mean? What does the cavity mean? So now we have the two opinions that are common on what this means, right? The Kama, right? And how much is this? Amar Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Ad Shiva. So until the 7th. So that means until the 7th day we can be Mevarach. Then Ardoi Amar Ad Shisha Asur, Ad Shisha Amar V'Tarvai. No, Ad Shisha Asur V'Tarvai Rav Yochanan, right? So the Nardoya say that we have until the 16th, and the 16th. We have until the 16th. But just an important thing to note is that they don't necessarily argue on when to say. They argue on a definition of when to say. Meaning, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. That the Gemara says Ashet Izmai Big Masa is the last time you really are able to say it. So they don't argue necessarily if that's right. They all agree that Ad Shet Izmai Big Masa is the right time, but they define what that means. Right? And so we just explain what that means. So, right, exactly. They argue. Now, Shulchan Aruch, look at source number 20, right? Just to also add another opinion of what we say, right? Shulchan Aruch number 20. He says, Ad Eimasai, right? Siman Gimel. Ad Eimasai Mevarachin Aleo. Siv Gimel. I'm sorry. Siman Telchavav Siv Gimel. Ad Eimasai Mevarachin Aleo. Ad Tezayim Yom. Hamolad. V'lo Tezayim Bichlal. V'lo Tezayim Bichlal is very important. That's what I was referring to before when I said it. Because what does it mean? It means that you have until Tezayin, really. But the fact is that we only have until Tezvav, the night. So we have until the 16th, we have until the 15th night to say it. And he says that the Shulchan Aruch holds also like the Rambam, and which is like the Nardai. We hold like the Nardai opinion. We have until the 16th day, but it's really the 15th night. Okay? 15th night, remember. Don't go telling everybody that I say the 16th night, because it's the 15th night, right? Okay. Now, quickly, halacha l'maisa. This is what we're getting down to. Halacha l'maisa, right? Chashir shemitzvah. Look at the Yalkut Yosef Siman Beis, right? Which is source number 22. Source number 22.
What you said.
Sarich levarich bracha zu b'simcha. Right, we said v'yesh nagel l'ilvosh bigdei Shabbos v'yesh levarich bracha zu v'im ha'yoragel l'ilvosh. Oh, v'im ha'yoragel l'ilvosh. Okay, whatever. Basically, what he says, I don't need to read the whole thing. He says that we should wear nice clothing. We should be b'simcha when we're saying it because we're agreeing about mekabel b'nei hashlim. And that's what we say on Shabbos. The Ramah says, though, very interesting. We're not going to read it inside, but if you want, it's there for you. All the goodies are there for you to read. We have it in a nice packet. The Ramah says that even on Chol, we should wear Megad and Noy. Why? Because it's always a nice thing. But the Mishnah Berurah says, though, the Mishnah Berurah says, and maybe in the source, the Mishnah Berurah says in Siman Tov Vav Seif. Whatever. He said, I don't really know the Siman now. Siman Beis, I don't know, whatever, okay. He says that we're not really, we're not really medactic to do this now. We're not really we don't do this nowadays. We don't say like the Ramah that even on Chol that we should wear Begod and Noy. But it's a nice thing to do if you want. Kol hakavod. Okay, now look at, now this is very important. Look at source number 20. Source number 20 and 21, right? The Mishnah Berurah Tavach, right? 20 and 21. Where he says, let me get to the source. Sorry. Okay, where he says, in Siman Dalet, Siv Dalet, Siv Kotan, Chov Aleph, Tachas Agag. Ela Tachas Kiva Shemaim. You should be under the sky, right? The Kiddush Levana hu ki gabolos pnei hashchina. Because Kiddush Levana is being like being mekabel the Shechina. Exactly. Ve'ein zeh derech kavod shehe omed tachas agag. You shouldn't be under a roof when you're doing this. It's not kavod. Because why? Let's bring this. The Mishnah brings the Geshmak parable. Because what would happen if a king went to come into your town? and going through the town and everything, would you just go and wait under your house for the king to come to you, or would you run? Would you rot the Kavah Shechina, right? That's what you're going to do. Kal v'chomer, the Shechina. If you're going to go for a Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? So therefore, we go under the sky. And we really, Lichat Chila, you must be under the sky. But, what does he say? Aval, Mi shechoishesh be'ezeh, Mecho shelo yuchal latzei slachutz, Inam sheva gomeinu noki, or sheshurei be'ein ha'akum, Yikadet be'ezo derech chalon le'pesach ha'bozach. But if you're a chashash that you're in a town where there's a many or it's just not a nice place. I don't want to say any names, but look at a place like Harlem or whatever. Or like where my friend in Great Neck lives. I'm kidding, Great Neck's a great place. Right? If you want to say like this, but still, you know what? That's bidi evet, but what you should still do, right? Be very careful. You should be you should find the opening in your house somewhere, maybe a window, whatever you have, and make sure you see the Levana when you're being Mevorach, because it's very nice. It's very nice to do. You should do that. Okay, go to source number 22 and 24, Chazon Ovadia, right? And let's go to 22, source number 22. He says, okay, Sarich Levarech, no, where was this one? Oh, okay. Chazon Ovadia, Simen Vav. Mitzvah Levarech Berchaz Havana Me'omad, Sharihu Mekim Mekaba B'nei Shechina. Ve'rak hu l'choyla ozagim mu'uflok she'en yochel l'omen klal, Rashi Levarech V'shiyoshe. So what does the Chazon Ovadia say? He says, that we have the mitzvah to stand. Like I said before, because Birch is a mitzvah, so we should stand. Because it's like being in Kavod L'chei Shechina, so it's like respect. But if you're sick or you're Zokim Muflog, then what? Then you don't need to stand. And it's okay if you sit. But still, it's important to note that leaning on something is still better. We still say it's better than just sitting. Right, okay. Now, the Geder HaMitzvah, bottom line, Geder HaMitzvah. We're not going to say any of this inside because I know we've already taken a lot of your time. This is very important. The Yalkut Yosef says that you should stand while saying the bracha, like we already said, because birchas ha-mitzvah, because it's the birchas ha-mitzvah. Like the language of the Gemara, hilkach, and then, right, omdim. Because hilkach is the birchas ha-mitzvah, omdim. Right, because birchas ha-mitzvah, we omdim. And the Yisod of Shor Shavodah, very Geshmak Sefer. He says, since it's the birchas shevach, we should always have the mindset that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? We think about the praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the niflos that He brings to us every day, and we see the rainbows, we see all these mountains, we see all... Okay, so just to summarize what I quickly said, because I don't know what happened to the screen, we always have to thank Hashem, so we should have in mind when we're saying the bracha, because Berachas HaShevach. The Mishnah Berurah says, in Simin Tav Chav Vav, Sev Aleph, Siv Kotan Aleph, I'm going to say this outside, but we were planning to do it inside, I'm going to say it outside. A blind person is chayav to say the bracha because one who held, there's two reasons. Because Klal Yisrael as a whole is saying the bracha, so he should feel like he's involved. And another thing, why, is because everyone else, and the people who help him especially, derive benefit from that moon. So even though he maybe can't see and can't derive the benefit from that light, the moon's light, still, since the ones who help him do it, he does it as well. It's the same thing, like we said before, with Berachas HaShachar, and you say Pokei HaChevron. Yaakov Yosef, Chazon Ovadia, many people say, so many people argue if the blind person should say it or not.
Oh my God! Sorry, I really didn't see you there. Okay, so where were we? I remember where we were. Okay, hold on. Let me just reorganize. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Wow, caught me doing my Chinese. So the Yalkut Yosef says that, and Chazon Ovadia, that we don't say that a blind person should recite the brachas of Kiddush Levana because of the machlokes in the poskim if they should say it or not. And what do we know? We say Safek brachas lahakel, so therefore we don't say it. It's fine. The blind person doesn't say the bracha. Okay, good. And the Chiv Nashim, what's the bottom line? Chazon Ovadia and Yalkut Yosef and Siman Chet say that the minhag is really that women don't say it because women are the reason for the begam. Again, we didn't go into so much depth about that, but okay. But still, what they should do is the woman, they should be Shomei Kona. And through Shomei Kona will be Choshesh, the other opinions that do say that a woman should recite the bracha. Like we did above, like I forgot. I think Nefesh Harav, yes, exactly. And last but not least, there's Zimnei Brocha, the bottom line for Ashkenazim, right? The Mishnah Berurah in the Isha Yisrael is Chaim Kanievsky, that Ashkenazim begin on the third night of the Chodesh, they say the Kiddush Levana. Sfardim and Chazon Avadia in the Shulchan Aruch say that Sfardim begin on the seventh night. And finally, all poskim say, and this is for Ashkenazim, Sfardim, for everybody, that one has until the 15th night to say it, and once it's past 15th night, it's over. But 15th night is the last night. Okay, thank you for listening. That concludes the Shiur.